And here's the news.
Oh my gosh, and here is indeed the news. Mr. Jordan, how's your willpower these days? Okay. I don't think I need these, I'm good. All right, so welcome to the Hayden Films Minutes. I am your host, Hayden Craddolph. Before we get to the news, please like and subscribe to our channel, helps our students out, and please click on the notifications so you can be up to date on all of our new minutes. Now, this particular episode of the Hayden Films Minutes is brought to you by the $10,000 Hayden Films 1.0 screenwriting competition. So we are looking for the best screenplay, the best pilot. That's going to be competing for $10,000. And we're going to also be looking for the best short films that are going to be competing for short film scripts, rather. We're going to compete for $1,000. The full details are going to be listed below in our description for the Film Freeway. It goes over all the rules, all of the different information, some of our past winners from our Hayden Films Online Film Festival series, so you can really get a good grasp of what we've done to support independent film over the years and how we are looking to support screenwriting as well and hopefully bring it to Los Angeles. For any reason that we're still dealing with social distancing, we have a virtual component. So again, $10,000 for the best screenplay. Full details below. We're also going to put it up in the card as well. Now, if you've missed any of our previous Hayden Films Minutes, you can also check those out there on the top right-hand side. You'll see those in the card, and you'll get to pick your favorite, and hopefully you'll be able to share those as well. So, our first article today, brought to you by Vanity Fair. 10 Sean Connery movies to stream. First of all, we'd like to say rest in peace to Sean Connery, and our prayers go out to his family. We understand that he's been not only an icon, and we personally here at Hayden Films really like his work and believe in him as a great inspiration to the industry as a whole. So this particular article here has a list of the 10 Sean Connery movies to stream. The great thing about this article is it has embedded 10 trailers, YouTube trailers for different films. Some of the films obviously I've seen, some of them I've grown up on. And a few of these films here specifically, I did not know he has done. So let's just go and just talk about some of these projects. And of course, I'm sure you guys are itching to check out some of these. I'm going to turn over to Marnie from 1964. And I didn't realize he did this film with Alfred Hitchcock. But in words of the director himself, Mr. Alfred Hitchcock, Marnie is the follow-up to The Birds, and is a sex mystery. Connery sought out the role hoping to keep himself in the public eye, occasionally doing a non-Bond film. It was released just a few months before Bond's mega hit Goldfinger, one of my favorite Bond films. And like I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the Bond films because most of you guys have known about those 7 films. I strongly recommend, if you haven't seen them, check them out. But I'm going to focus on some of the other films. Marnie is streaming for free on Peacock with ads. It's rentable from most providers for a low sum. Let's see what else we have here. The Man Who Would Be King, 1975. He also stars with Michael Caine. Just checked out the trailer. Did not know about this 1975 film as well. And it's really a great, putting together 2 great people that have, a very different way and approach to their portfolio of work, both Mr. Sean Connery and Michael Caine. So I definitely would recommend you checking out the trailer for The Man Who Would Be King, 1975. One of the trailers that I really took a little bit more interest in was Outland, 1981. 1981, and it's interesting because in Hollywood there's talk about an elevator pitch. Sell and exec your movie with as few words as possible. So how's this? Outland is high noon in outer space. Sounds like a pretty good elevator pitch, I may say. The really great thing about this is that Jerry Goldsmith was actually doing the music score, and he incorporated some really great synthesizers into the score. And just watching the trailer a few times and being a sci-fi person myself, I really think this is something that I'm going to have to check out myself. And Outland is streaming on Starz, and again is rentable on most providers. Now, one of my favorite films, I'm a big mafia film guy, The Untouchables from 1987. So on Untouchables is really a great film project for Mr. Sean Connery, is because this is where he wins his first Oscar. And it was for the supporting role of Jim Malone, a police officer ready to join Kevin Costner's Elliot Ness in pursuit of Robert De Niro's Al Capone. So if you like great mafia films like The Godfather, The Untouchables, there's just a list of everyone has a favorite. I would definitely say The Untouchables is one of those films by Sean Connery, so I would check it out. It's currently streaming on Starz, and again is rentable on most providers as well. Interesting enough, another one of my favorites growing up was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Obviously, everyone knows I'm a big George Lucas fan, and so to see Sean Connery and Harrison Ford come together on the big screen for this classic Indiana Jones film. And talking about classic, for example, what about this classic line? And Sean Connery said, "We named the dog Indiana." And, you'd have to do a little bit more research. Actually, Indiana was George Lucas's dog's name. So to see Steven Spielberg and George Lucas get together and bring Harrison Ford and Sean Connery, especially Sean Connery's, past with the Bond films, and see him on the other side, who else would play Harrison Ford's dad? Sean Connery. It makes sense. So again, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is streaming on Netflix and Sling, and of course is rentable on most other providers. As the article continues to go on, has other projects here. The Rock, 1997, The Rock, bring in Nicolas Cage and Ed Harris together on a really great movie talking about Alcatraz. So you definitely want to check that out. So, tell us, what's your favorite Sean Connery film? Is it one of those films that are on the streaming list? Or is there another Sean Connery film that you think we should talk about? Please leave it in the comments below. We'd love to hear what your favorite Sean Connery film is. Now let's go on to Aerospace Journal. The market forecast report on SaaS Software Market 2020 to 2026. So this is an Aerospace Journal article that goes on, and this is perfect for startups, educators, and it really has a report that's focusing on all 7 continents. And so the Global Software Market Research Report helps clients understand various drivers and restraints impacting the market during the forecast period. Again, the forecast period here is 2020 to 2026. And so you can actually go click on the link below in the description and actually request a summary of this report. The overviews, SWOT analysis, and strategies for each vendor in the SaaS software market provided understanding about the market forces and how those can be exploited to create future opportunities. And then there's a few software companies here I'll list. The following players are covered in this report. You have Microsoft, Adobe, Salesforce, Spotify, Zoom, Slack, just to name a few, and the list has many, many more for you to research. The great thing about this is, again, we talked about this in a previous episode, if you're going to consider creating your own software, you want to do what's called a SWOT analysis, your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to bring your software to market. So it sounds like this report may give you some guidance. The report also, the scope of the SaaS software market report also states that the research study analyzes the global keyword industry from a 360-degree analysis of the market thoroughly, delivering insights into the market for better business decisions, considering multiple aspects of some of which are listed below. For example, they break down the data by type, customer relationship management, CRMs. It's really, you really need to understand how those systems work. Web collaboration, product life cycle management, and informational management. Again, just a few to name. You have business, HR. The list seems very comprehensive, so gives you a whole bunch of insights in those as well. Also, there are many regions, like I said, 7 continents: North America, United States, Canada, Germany, France, China, Japan, Australia, Latin America, and the list goes on and on. There's also a section in the report that talks about recent developments, market overview and growth analysis, volume analysis, current market trends, and future outlook. And there's also a breakdown for key questions answered by by the SaaS Software Market Report. For example, what was the SaaS software market size in 2019 and 2020? What are the estimated growth trends and market forecasts for 20 through 2025? Again, if you are an entrepreneur and you're looking to have data in your hand to test out one of your problem statements or thesis, I'd strongly recommend clicking on this link below from Aerospace Journal and get this free report. It'd be something that I think will help your research as you work with your startup team. Now on to the final report, and today we're talking about Total Food Service. Total Food Service. They have an article here called Restaurant Misfits Podcast, Michael Chernow. So, Restaurant Misfits is a podcast dedicated to all things related to the restaurant marketing, management, and everything else in between growing a restaurant business. The podcast is brought to you by Misfit Media and in collaboration with Total Food Service. Each episode is hosted by Brett Linkletter, CEO and co-founder of Misfit Media, and can be found on Spotify, or you can actually check it out on the link below. You can hear the complete podcast. What was interesting about this particular episode is the Restaurant Misfits podcast. They interview Michael Chernow. He's a restaurateur, entrepreneur, TV host, podcast host, and he's a fitness personality, family man who is dedicated to inspiring the world through positivity, hospitality, and service. The great thing is that they have both of the two multi-locations that he currently runs. One is called Seymour's, which is a sustainable seafood concept founded in 2015, and the other is called the Meatball Shop, which he founded with a friend in 2010. It's interesting to see these two websites and see how the podcast itself really talks about how many people that run a restaurant or have run a family restaurant are really converting their models to fit this new digital age, and how people are going to consume their foods and their recipes and become, affinity loyalists to their brand. I recommend you listening to the full podcasts and also reading the article for more insight. So today was a great day of new 3 articles, again brought to you by the $10,000 Haydenfilms 1.0 screenwriting competition. So you have a screenplay that you want to dust off, polish, make sure you send it. If you're currently a student, a professional, an independent screenwriter, please make sure you click the Film Freeway link below. Now, stay tuned to our next Hayden Films Minutes. In the meantime, again, I'm your host, Hayden Film, and I'm just making mistakes. But guess what? This is live. So my name is Hayden Craddolph, and stay tuned for the next Hayden Films Minutes, and please make a difference.